Hey everyone, it's Michael and welcome back to Boxmining. So it's been a while since I had a heart-to-heart chat with you guys like this, and that's because I was on the blockchain cruise. And wow, this cruise was pretty amazing. It had an epic debate between Roger Ver and Jimmy Song, and that's between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And I'll put a link right there. It got pretty dramatic and it kind of embodied a lot of the arguments and the style of arguments that are currently in the cryptocurrency space. And what I learned from that is that we're still at a very kind of not mature level yet, because there's still a lot of different ways to view something and people take very strong views. But I'm going to make myself very unpopular here and say, you know what? Having a general broader view is probably really important right now. Just acknowledging that all these arguments are being said and then taking yourself back out a little bit, trying to look at the bigger picture as a whole and try to make a decision for yourself what's going to happen here. And I'll try to link that as well with what's currently happening on the markets, because whilst I was gone, the markets have been pretty crazy to say the least, with Ethereum dumping all the way down to $170 at its lowest point. And that's caused a lot of people to think, oh my god, Ethereum's dead, smart contracts are dead, dApps are over, and a lot of panic selling. But what's pretty obvious, and I was tweeting this out yesterday, is that a lot of these panic sells and a lot of these factors are kind of accentuated by weak minds and also by leverage trading, which leads to rapid declines. But when it does rapidly decline, all the reasons that you see, they get factored in already. So that's going to be interesting going forward when we see these very, very violent changes in the price of cryptocurrencies. So I'm going to cover all this and more on today's Boxmining. I do want to say everything covered here is my personal opinion and not financial advice. So let's take a look at the markets first of all. We have kind of the market cap at the $200 billion mark again. And we see that Ethereum is the biggest winner today after the panic selling. We have the bulls returning and saying, you know what? There's really no need to panic in a situation like this. A lot of what we see in terms of FUD especially, when FUD hits and when mainstream media applies that FUD, a lot of things get taken out of context. Even Vitalik got called out saying, oh yeah, if you don't think there's no more future growth in crypto anymore, after he said there's no 100x growth. Well guys, he just said there's no 1000x growth. Relax, there's still a huge amount of room to grow. So it's a lot about media taking that out of context, making something sensational because they want the clicks, they want the views. And when you get down to the crux of it, it's important to look at the core essentials. So in terms of arguments for why Ethereum dumped so hard this month, a lot has to do with the ICO talk as well. So the talk that, well, ICOs just aren't raising much money. And if they're not raising money, VCs aren't incentivized as heavily to keep Ethereum. And I think this is an argument that I can believe, because right now what I've been witnessing, especially on the cruise as well, is that there aren't so many people interested in talking to ICOs directly. We see that talks with ICOs, the numbers that usually attend to those talks, they tend to die down. So what we had was, Charlie's talk, we packed the room 100, 200 people, and the time the ICO comes on for the next talk, yeah, that's dropping down to like 20, 30. So this is something that we've been seeing across the board at conferences and also in terms of general interest as well. What I feel right now is that the ICO scene led to a stark sell-off, but what we see is that also the projects themselves, they're probably not the responsible party. We still have DigixDAO. If you look at them, they still have a majority of the ETH raise. So they raised around something like 466,000 Ethereum, and they still keeping 395,000. So this is a list by Dyer. So you can just I'll put a link down here, but you can take a look at which projects own what. So in terms of the amount of selling from projects, if they are selling, man, that's gonna be a lot of money dumped on the market. But it seems like the data shows that most, well, at least the ones that are here, they're not selling that much. So what's happening most likely is that the VCs that were storing up Ethereum in preparation, in anticipation for the ICOs, yeah, that's gone. But right now, in terms of the dApps themselves, we still have this risk of a dump here. I guess the good news is that they're not broke yet. I mean, if these projects still have money, they can still try different ways to grow and make a decentralized application. And hopefully we can get more usage out of it, because without usage, that's not going to bring adoption into the future. And I'll probably do a few more videos talking about my experiences in the game making world, how some companies succeed and some fail. And I'll make that into a topic for you guys. And hopefully that'll give you some insight into the startup space as well. And in my kind of experience, I ran some platforms as well for video games, and we saw companies thrive and also die off pretty quickly as well. So I want to share that with you guys. So last few comments of the day, so I just relate this to the overall market. The overall market was just the scare from the death of the ICO markets. Right now, the projects themselves probably are experiencing a little bit of pressure, but what we see is that from the data-wise, a lot is still being kept. So the best way to deal with this market now, like I've always said before, is to pace yourself. Instead of going all in balls deep at once, set up a strategy. Right, pace yourself, have a dollar cost average, because at the end of the day, predicting the market is extremely difficult unless you're the one who is manipulating. So unless you're the one who's helping, say, let's take a look, Digex, Golem, or one of these projects dump their ETH, then without being armed with that information, there's very little you can do to predict the market right now. Next up, we have, let's take a look at this. We have this on the news, the fact that the United States are asking Indian authorities to seize the property of BitConnect promoters. BitConnect. I mean, honestly, those promoters are gone. They ran away with the money. Ponzi schemes have been an intrinsic part of cryptocurrencies. It's probably the most unfortunate part of crypto. We've seen something like Bitcoin Trust and Savings that pointed this out before. We've seen these BitConnect, we've seen Coin, we've seen proof of weak hands. Pyramid scheme structures are fun for gambling, I guess, but treat them as gambling. There's going to be a lot of scams that make people think that this is an investment. It's not. It's pure casino. We're going to see more and more of this in the future. So one of the things here is important to be making yourself armed, making yourself aware of the situation as well. Knowledge is the only solution to this. Honestly, anything with 365% returns, not going to happen. So that covers pretty much what I want to cover recently. We do have, in terms of upcoming events this month, we have the ETF. A lot of people are still looking forward to this because the SEC delayed it to the end of this month. So as we near it, I think we're going to feel the anticipation. We also have, of course, a lot of updates coming for Ethereum as well that's going to be potentially deployed. We also have a few interviews on this channel that I'm going to try to learn a little bit more about how to develop decentralized applications. I think one thing that's causing a lot of fear is the lack of knowledge in this space, and I really want to fill that knowledge gap. So I can hope you guys can keep tuned on this channel for that. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed a kind of informal session like this, and tell me what you guys like about this format, don't like. And I hope you guys will follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. Recently, I've been doing a little bit more content on that just because I'm traveling, so I can take it on a go and give you little bits of snippets of what's happening with both adventures and my views on the market. So I hope you can follow me there. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to click the like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's all at Boxmining. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.